Welcome back to week 4 of the 6-month journey where I'm trying to grow intentionally, showing up consistently and change my life from inside out while finishing my master's degree and building a startup. Let me tell you, this week there were interviews, user testing, investor prep, workshops, feedback sessions, like the kind of week that leaves your brain feeling like a browser with 57 tabs open. And no, I didn't click restart and restore session. I just kind of kept adding more tabs. But underneath all the activity, there was this quiet thread that kept showing up. And that was listening. Listening to your applicants, listening to feedback, listening to my co-founders, listening to what our users were struggling with. And maybe the hardest of all, listening to myself when I started feeling overwhelmed. So today I want to take you through this week, not just as a list of things I did, but as a series of moments that taught me something. Because I think if you're watching this, you might be in a similar path. You might be building something, your business, your career, your courage, and you're trying to make progress without losing your sanity. Tell me in the comments what it is. This week was not about moving fast. It was about moving forward towards something. It's not about making noise. It's about listening closely to the right things at the right time. So if you ever felt like you're building while blindfolded or like you're trying to find clarity in the middle of chaos, this video is for you. Let's start with the first thing we did, hiring. Hiring people for our mission, because it is humbling. This week we did several rounds of interviews for our IT department. We're trying to bring on developers who directly support our CTO. So we set up proper calls with candidates, reviewed their portfolios, gave them small technical exercises, and then talked them through all the legal sides of the things. And now on paper, some of the people looked really great. They had experience. Some even had a few startups building under their belt. But by the end of each conversation, something just felt off. There's this moment in a call, maybe you know it, when you realize technically this could work out, but personally the vibe isn't vibing. And it's hard because when you're a startup, without a big team, every hire feels like a lifeline. You want to get help. You want to go faster. You want to just finally solve all the problems. But hiring out of desperation is like pouring water into a cracked bottle. It looks full for a second, but long term, it's just leaking all your energy. I've learned that you don't just hire someone to do a task, you hire someone to build alongside yourself. And if their mindset doesn't match with yours, if they can't handle like ambitiously, if they need hand holding on every detail, if they aren't curious about your problem, you're better off waiting. One of the applicants said, just tell me what to build and I will do it. And this sounds really good, right? Except I don't want an executor right now. I want a partner in solving problems. Where in a bigger state, this is a yes, that's what we need. Someone who doesn't think on their own, who just does as told. But right now, no, I want someone equal, someone who contributes, someone to grow with. In an early stage startup, I'm not your mommy. And if you're doing something similar, you shouldn't either. So we didn't hire anyone this round. No trial days, no steps. We didn't say yes to anyone. It's better to have no developer than wrong developers. And if you're in a season where you feel behind because you don't have a team, I want to tell you, you're not behind for waiting. You're ahead of being thoughtful. Hiring is not about checking a box. It's about choosing someone who will help you carry all the load and not just add on it. The next big moment of this week was our usability testing. We brought in real users to test our prototype. Not friends, not people in tech, and not mentors, just users, people who we have absolutely no personal connection with. Sadly, it was a really hot day and a few participants canceled going to the swimming pool, which is understandable for me. I mean, it's not their startup, it's not their focus. But we powered through the whole heat. We had water bottles, pizza ordered at halftime, and surprisingly a very focused vibe with the people who showed up, even despite the heat. And here's what hit me the hardest. You think you know your product. You think you've seen every screen and caught every typo, planned every use case, but then someone else has clicked through it and with no explanation, no coaching context, you realize just how many blind spots you actually have. One person couldn't find the search bar. Another clicked to the menu and was like, what does this even mean? And another tester said, I thought I did it wrong because like the success message wasn't very clear enough. And I'm using so much English in my daily life that I actually didn't notice that some parts were in English and others in German until they got pointed out. But here's the beautiful part. Most of our core assumptions held up. Our structure made sense and our concept resonated. The testers confirmed that we were on the right track, but they also gave us dozens of micro insights we would have never caught alone. And this is why I always say, build with your users and not just for them. Feedback is your flashlight, and user testing, that's how you turn the flashlight on. We grouped all the feedback into categories like must fixes, nice to have, and conflict. Conflicts are where users had opposite opinions for the same features. And you know what? The last category, the conflicting one, is where you learn to be a real product owner because you have to make a decision on it. When feedback conflicts, you have to ask, who is the person really giving this feedback? Are they my core user? And is this feedback about functionality or rather just a personal taste? Because if you try to please everyone, like we said last time, you build something that pleases no one. User testing showed something deeper too. People definitely don't use your product the way you think they will. Many people don't read even half of what you actually wrote, and most people honestly are just trying to get through their day. Your app is a small blip in it, and so make it very clear because you need to make it intuitive and listen to the people who are actually using it. Now let me tell you about the workshop we had earlier this week because one nearly fried my brain. It was a full day of UI UX strategy sessions with another agency, and we mapped out our customer journeys, our conversation flows, tracking tools, and usability patterns. Basically everything that would make a product manager like squeal with joy. And for the first 2 hours, I was in that zone. But around hour 3, I hit kind of a wall. Like everything started to sound like a TED talk from underwater. You're not feeling like you're nodding inside, you're just like buffering. So I had to pause. I closed my laptop. I took a breath, left the room. I got water. And then I recentered. Not because I didn't care about this thing, but because I really did. And so if you encounter a problem like this, be with studies, lectures, or whatsoever, you need to pause because you care. The pause that helped me return with actual energy to absorb the rest. And here's the thing, in high input environments, you need to become your own filter because otherwise you're just collecting noise and not insight at all. After the workshop, we sat together as a team and went back through all the sticky notes, like the frameworks and screenshot. Instead of trying to act on everything at once, we asked ourselves, what is relevant right now? What belongs into the next sprint? What is good and maybe what is not our good. It's to remind learning isn't the same thing as applying. Just because something is smart doesn't mean it's useful yet. You have to digest before you execute, and pausing isn't failure, it's a real strategy. Okay, let's talk about the investor call. This week we pitched to a potential angel investor, someone who's not just writing checks, not a portfolio, but someone actually partnering in the long run. We had a 30-minute slot and that's it. So we prepped like we were getting married on a Zoom call. I built the business and the financial model, and one of my co-founder financed the deck and the pitch, and the other co-founder polished the demo like it's going to be on Shark Tank. But before we even opened the call, we agreed on something as a team. We're not going to sell hype. We're offering a partnership. And that changed so much about how we showed up. We didn't hide our flaws. We led with them. We said, here are the biggest risks we've identified, and here's how we're going to change or consult them. We talked openly about what we didn't know and where we needed support, where we were still learning. Because when you're talking to an investor, it's not a sales pitch, it's a relationship pitch. This person might be on your cap table for years. They might get inside access to your strategy, your financial, your whole thought process. So if you can't be real right now, when will you be? We can't fix it if we never face it. Because here's a metaphor I used after the call when I talked to a friend. If you and an investor are getting on a boat together, you better be aligned before you launch, because once you're out in the sea, figuring it out later is how you both are going to drown. Having an investor isn't automatically good, and not having one isn't automatically bad. Both paths come with risks. So we asked ourselves, is this person we'd want to problem solve on 11 p.m. on a Friday night? And honestly, the call went so well. She asked very smart questions. She smiled. And when we admitted we didn't know, she respected the work we had done. And now she's taking it over with her partners. We actually don't know how it will go yet. It might turn out well, but it also might not be. All the expectations might not be suitable to one another. But either way, we showed up as ourselves. We admitted what we don't know, and I'm very proud of that. After all that, the interviews, the user testing, the workshop, the investor call, our whole whiteboard was so overflowing with ideas. And I had that moment. I think everyone hits in the very beginning, eventually, the panic of, we should do all of this, whereas we can't do any of this. So we paused again and we started saying no. Some features went straight into the upcoming sprint. Some went onto the later maybe list, and some we actually deleted because they didn't serve the mission right. And I'll be honest, this was hard for me because I'm a planner. I really love progress and I love knowing we're moving forward. But focus isn't about getting more done. It's about getting the right things done. One of my favorite quotes this week was from another mentor. Founders don't burn out because they're lazy. They burn out because they don't know what's actually essential. So I'm trying to practice saying this, not now, not this, or even just no. Every time you say no to a shiny new feature, you're saying yes to a clarity of your core mission. And here's how I kept going through all of that. I made resting part of the system. It's not a reward. It's not an afterthought. It's not luxurious. It's a necessity. Designed, repeatable. You need to focus on your health. So I went to the gym. I had dinner with family. I watched Captive Demon Hunters on Netflix. It's a must watch. I loved it. I just can't get enough. It's all I can think of. The music is still playing in my head. But did any of this make me more productive? Maybe not in the way the internet defines it, but it did make me more present for the rest of the week. 2 weeks ago, I talked about smart goals and containers, and I'm seeing now how those containers become anchors. When the waves get very strong, they keep me rooted. I don't need to have a rigid routine. I'm having patterns that support me even when the schedule is really going wild. And if you're in a growth season right now, I want you to hear this. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters and make space to recover so you can keep doing it. Rest is the ritual that lets you rise again, over and over. So summing up, what is this week here to teach for? It taught me that building isn't just about doing, it's about noticing and listening. It's about asking the right questions before you make the wrong moves. It's also learning that saying no to the wrong hire is just as important as to saying yes to the right one, that your users will tell you what matters, and if you're quiet enough to listen, it will work out fine. And that the people you pitch to aren't buying your polish, they are investing in your honesty. And that is the best kind of growth. It doesn't come from rushing. It comes from the reflection. I used to think being a founder was about being in control, but now I think it's about being in tune with your users, with your team, and most importantly, with yourself. And trust me, I'm still learning. Some days I'm still spiraling into, am I doing enough? Some days I overthink the tiniest feedback, and sometimes I want to throw my laptop out the window, but I also have days like this week where I look back and realize I handled things I wouldn't have had the confidence to even handle a year ago. And that's really growth. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's really deep for me. So if you're also on your own path, building something new, starting something scary, figuring out just as you go, I want to remind you, you're allowed to grow slowly. You're allowed to not have all the answers, and you're allowed to change your mind and still keep going, still keep moving. So if this video resonated with you, let's keep the conversation going. I want to hear from you this time. What feedback helped you the most recently? What's something you are not doing anymore because it wasn't serving you right? And what's one small way you're building with intention this week? Leave a comment below. I will read all of them, I promise. And some of them will probably help other viewers too. So also, if you want to follow this full 6 months journey every week, every insight, every check-in, hit subscribe and turn on the notifications. That way you won't miss what's coming up next. Until then, please keep showing up, even if it's messy, keep refining, even if it's slow, and keep becoming one intentional day at a time. So see you next week.